And we're back. Everybody, thank you so much. Welcome to, we are doing the many faces of Sherlock Holmes with Iris the Keyblade Master. All yours, Iris.
Okay, okay, so starting off, I feel stupid asking this. Is there a way for me to share my screen without turning on my camera, or is that
Yeah, you can share your screen and not turn on your camera.
okay?
There should be a
Um,
like a square with an arrow pointing,
a
and it says
square
share
with an
screen.
oh, there it is. Okay, so cool.
And there are no dumb questions.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me that. Hey,
You're
look, it's
welcome.
us.
You're welcome.
Okay. Can you see Canva?
No, I can see Discord. No, I can see Discord.
Well, thank you. There you go. Hi, Tara. My dog is here too, and she says hello.
Hi, Tara.
And
She's so cute.
and Mama, why are you talking to the screen and not me? Okay.
Yay, I see Canva.
Yay. Yay. Okay. So, this is gonna kind of like been kicking around in the back of my head, for a while, doing something about Sherlock Holmes. I don't have the same like rage passion that I do for Dracula, where it's like you are not, there's only one correct way to do this, and if you deviate from that, I get mad. I'm a little more lenient with Sherlock Holmes, but also, um, he's a great character. I love him, and there's so many different versions of him that have been done in movies, TV, books, video games. So I wanted this to be kind of like yeah, a panel, but also just a discussion where we could talk about like which ones are our favorites. I'll go through some different iterations. What we like about him. What versions we don't like that we feel got him wrong. And there are no wrong answers here. So, well, this one's my favorite, Herlock, my beloved. Oh, don't go back. So, who is Sherlock Holmes? A great detective, an action hero, a mouse, highly functioning sociopath, greatest thing to ever happen to Ace Attorney. Well, he's been a lot of things over the years, and I was originally gonna play this clip, and I couldn't get it to work, so I'm mad about that. But so everyone knows like he's the detective Sir Arthur Conan Doyle came up with. But like, who is he? How smart is he actually? Because a couple of years ago, I decided to actually like sit down and read. I've read most of the short stories. I haven't I haven't read all the novels. I read The Hound of the Baskervilles, but I haven't read some of the other like actual novel length books. But some of the things that really stuck out to me. Hi, Tara. Some of the things that like kind of stuck out to me, like obviously he's very smart, and that's the thing that that stays pretty consistent throughout like every adaptation. But a lot of like in the books themselves, all of his deductions have some kind of explanation to them. Like the author doesn't just like have him say, "Oh, you like here's your entire backstory," and then leaves it at that. He'll break it down. He'll like someone says, "How the heck did you know all that?" He starts explaining all the things that he picked up on, and oftentimes, like, the characters will say, like, oh, I thought you did something really smart there, but now that you're pointing it out, it seems kind of obvious. And he's like, yeah, he's not this super genius, like, godlike man that, you know, is functioning on a higher level than everyone else. He's just observant and he's smart, and he knows how to, like, not just observe things, but what, like, kind of see the deeper meaning behind it. Like, and there are times when he's wrong. There's there's one really good short story where he goes into this whole, like, there's now I'm trying to remember. I have to grab the book. I don't remember the exact title. But there's the Norbury case where this man comes to him and talks about his wife's been sneaking off to see someone, and they wear a mask, and he thinks it's this whole blackmail affair, and then he finds out that she'd had a child from a previous marriage, and her child's biracial, so that's why her child was wearing a mask, and she didn't want, and she wasn't sure if her husband would accept that, and he does. It has a very sweet ending. But so Sherlock kind of, like, he says to Watson, listen, if I ever start to get, like, really off on my high horse again, just whisper Norbury to me, like, to kind of keep himself in check. There's also a question of how much does he care about other people? A lot of adaptations kind of portray him as being cold, and some of the short stories do too, where he's very logical and methodical and likes the puzzles and not necessarily thinking about the people. But obviously he cares a lot about Dr. Watson, and that's something that's, you know, consistent throughout the stories and the many adaptations. But I'll go into Irene a little bit later. But there's also a lot of cases, at least in the original stories, and I would love to see more of this in adaptations, where he finds out who the killer is, and the killer actually has very sympathetic reasons for doing what they're doing. Either the victim was a horrible person, or his client turns out to be a horrible person. And he kind of is like, right, well, I'm a consulting detective. I'm not the police. I'm not the judge and jury. I am under no obligation to report you for anything, so we're just gonna go, and, you know, live your life. And so he definitely, like, he's not completely shut off. He does care about people, and the aesthetic, you know, everyone knows the deerstalker cap, the pipe. I don't think he actually wears a deerstalker cap in the books. He does have a pipe. He does like to smoke. But what I put here is, so there's discrepancies, but does it even matter, because we have our perception of Sherlock Holmes, and everybody's going, I think to some degree, like, everybody's going to read these stories and take away different things from them. And, yes, Tara, do you have an opinion? My dog is being very cute right now. Not right now. So, like, again, he's not someone that I'm so attached to where I'm like, you have to portray him a certain way or you're wrong. But there are definitely things like Irene Adler, I'm gonna get to her, that, you know, I kind of wish they'd go into more. And to be fair, Sherlock Holmes, up until, like, I think last year, wasn't completely in the public domain. And so some of this has to do with the Holmes estate just being like really, really like they would try to get very specific about copyright claims. There was like this one case where they tried to sue because they said that the work made Holmes too nice and that Holmes didn't get nice until later stories that were still under copyright protection. So you can't use that. And the U.S. courts basically had to intervene and say, no, once a character's in the public domain, they're in the public domain. Like, you can't just, like, you have to have a good reason to say that, you know, a version of them that was in a copyrighted work is still not public domain. I'm explaining that badly, and I'm sorry. But I also want to talk about Dr. Watson, because Dr. Watson gets, honestly, I think Dr. Watson gets a pretty bad rep sometimes, too. He's not, well, in some cases, Joan Watson, my beloved, Watsons can sometimes be treated as almost just this, like, he's not even Holmes's assistant, he's just there to stand there and go, what? And that's not accurate to the stories. Like, he is pretty smart. He's not as smart as Holmes, but like, who is? And he can be just as much like, if anything, he's kind of like a sounding board for Sherlock. Like, he's someone that Sherlock can talk to kind of get a sense of like where he might be going wrong. And it's not always the case that Watson is able to do something before him. It's just that, you know, just having someone to talk to helps him work out the problems. And all right, I'm just going to start ranting about Irene. I promise Irene Adler was not the entire reason why I decided to do this panel, but she's the one I do get very upset about. She is fantastic. She is one of the examples of a time when Holmes got something wrong. Not that he didn't get it wrong, but so to go into the full context for people who aren't familiar with A Scandal in Bohemia, he gets a call from the King of Bohemia, who wants him to help because the king was in an affair with Irene. She's an opera singer, and you know, because she's not not of his class, like, he can't have it known that he had a fling with her. And he's about to get married, and Irene has threatened to reveal a picture of them when they were having their affair. And so the king's like, I need you to get this back. So Holmes does find a way to, like, he pretends to be like a kindly old priest that got assaulted. So of course she brings him into the house, and he has Watson yell that there's a fire because he's thinking, you know, she'll immediately start to head towards where she hid the photo, which was smart. The only problem is that Holmes didn't count on her realizing, oh, hey, I did that. I invited a stranger into my house, and I went over to the place where I was hiding the photo and kind of gave myself away. So she disguises herself, follows Holmes and Watson back to their house, says goodnight to him in disguise without him realizing that it was her saying goodnight to him. And then she takes the photo and leaves a letter in the safe where she hid the photo saying, like, hey, good job, you got me, but I'm leaving town now. I've got the picture with me, just let the king know I found someone else, I'm getting married to him, so I'm not gonna like screw with the king's marriage. You're all good. And so that's the reason why Holmes is obsessed. I don't even want to say the word obsessed. But the reason why he can't quite let her go is because she outsmarted him. That was the whole thing, was that she was smarter than him. And, like, it cracks me up. The the opening in the story, like Watson even spells it right out that, you know, it's not love. He's not like in love with her or anything. He just like he can't stop thinking about like she got him, and it just drives me crazy. Like every time there's a movie or a TV show that comes out, it's like she's his love interest, and not even just that she's his love interest, but like the Robert Downey Jr. movie, the Sherlock TV series, a lot of times he ends up saving her or he outsmarts her, which is completely the opposite of how she was intended to come off. And I will add, if you ship her with Sherlock Holmes, that is fine. I'm cool with that. Um, I just wish she gets a bad rap. The one show that I think did her justice was the Granada series. That's I think that was from like the 70s or the 80s. And I knew it was going to be good because it starts out with excuse me. I knew it was going to be good because it started out with the King of Bohemia trying to get someone to break into her house to get the photo. So it kind of characterizes her as the victim here. Like, she's got the photo, but she's not doing anything with it. And he's the one who won't let it go. And they pretty much play it out the whole way. Like, it's just that story. And it's great. And I love it. I would like to see her in more things. And it's funny because she only shows up for this one story. Kind of like Professor Moriarty. Well, Professor Moriarty showed up for more than one, but they were just that memorable that they show up in like every adaptation. But I do want to turn this into a discussion. I just want to see like who is Sherlock Holmes to you? What is your favorite adaptation? There's so many. There's obviously BBC Sherlock, which had its fair share of controversies. There's the Robert Downey Jr. movies. There's the Great Mouse Detective, which is fantastic, and I love you, Radigan. There's the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, the Japanese version, he's called Sherlock Holmes, but in the American version, to get around the fact that there was still copyright going on, I'll go back to that slide. He's actually known as Herlock Sholmes, and it's amazing. I think it actually worked out. I'm kind of weird. Like, I know a lot of people were like, oh, he should have been called Sherlock, but I think it works better that way because he's not the main character. He's helping the Japanese lawyer who's the main character, Ryanosuke. And his whole stick is that he will make deductions and they are correct, and everyone is like, wow, how did you do that? And then he starts coming up with like, he'll say like, oh, you're hiding something, and it's like he's correct, but then he will come up with the most insane theories of like, my favorite one was when he said that what they all thought was a bomb was actually an anti-gravity device. And so then the gameplay kicks in where you have to look at what he's noticed and then kind of help his deductions along, help him to arrive at the right conclusion, because he's kind of got the right idea, but he's just off to the point that he's got a theory that makes no sense. And he's always in a good mood when Ryanosuke does that. Like, it doesn't bother him at all to be told that he's wrong over and over and over again. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, what is his deal? Is he actually Sherlock Holmes, or is he a parody of Sherlock Holmes? Does he actually believe the things he's saying, or is he just messing with Ryanosuke to actually get him to start thinking and making the right deductions? And I won't spoil it in case you ever play the games. They're on Switch and PS4, and I think they're on Steam too. But it's a lot of fun. So I want to kind of go back now and Does anyone want to share their Oh, yes, I just saw it in the panel chat. Yes, Joan. um, does anyone else want to talk about? What are your favorite Sherlock Holmes?
Do you have a favorite like Sherlock Holmes adaptation?
Uh, it's funny because for the longest time it was Sherlock. Like when I first saw it, I really liked the first and second season because I was kind of annoyed by um I was annoyed by the Robert Downey Jr. version. I'm like, why are there guns and explosions in my Sherlock Holmes? He's a detective. He solves mysteries. And I liked that the BBC show kind of had that emphasis on like actually solving crimes. And now the third season was where it started to get and I've heard the fourth season is really bad, and I haven't seen it. And I'm also upset with what they did to Irene. So probably the Granada series. Let me see if I can find like a GIF of that or something. Because that's just straight up those are just straight up adaptations of um oh yeah, there he is. Those are just straight up adaptations of the books. And they're really good. I love Herlock. I love the Great Mouse Detective. Um Radigan is the only Moriarty that has rights, in my opinion. Not that I don't like Moriarty, but I kind of feel like he's overblown a little bit. Like, he just showed up for the final solution to kill off Holmes, and that was it. I'm trying to think if I have a favorite Watson. I will admit I haven't seen all of Elementary. What I have seen, I did like Joan a lot. And I understand at some point, like, um, he actually starts teaching her how to make deductions, which I think is really cool and does play into that whole idea that he's not doing anything particularly special, like it's something anybody could do. Um and
I think Jonah's my favorite. I didn't finish Elementary, but I did watch a lot of it.
mhm.
I've watched most of Elementary. Um, I watched all of BBC Sherlock, and I've watched
Mhm.
the Robert Downey Jr. movies.
Also, I gotta respect again. I didn't make it all like to the end or anything, but I gotta respect a Sherlock Holmes adaptation that makes Watson a woman, but keeps the bromance like does like they're like yeah they're friends. Um,
Yes,
because that could have so easily been okay. We'll turn her into a girl, and now we'll like hook them up. Like, but they didn't do that, and that's really cool.
I also love
Um,
Irene. I also love Irene Adler.
she's fantastic,
She's like,
and
I give nothing. I am amazing, and I do what I want.
yes, and I feel bad because for the longest they always tend to turn her into this like femme fatale, and she's really not. She is like, and I kind of fell into that too, and I like rereading the story. It's like, no, she's really not doing anything bad. I mean, yeah, she does threaten to blackmail the king, but she's dropped it by the time Holmes starts investigating her, and she's like, I just want to keep living my life. I'm married now. Like, I'm not interested in this king anymore. Like, later, and I'd like to see. I'd like to see her like not necessarily playing like not playing a villain role, not playing like his love interest, but like helping him out on cases sometimes. I think that would be cool if they ever did that in a TV series. Like actually let him having to consult her, that'd be fun.
A lot of people love the Ace Attorney series.
Oh yeah, Ace Attorney is great. I was going to so the clip I was going to show. Hi Tara. The clip I was going to show was actually from the anime because so there's a character in one of the Ace Attorney cases, not the great Ace Attorney one. That he's clearly supposed to be a parody of Sherlock Holmes. And there's a scene where he's like, okay, so Phoenix Wright, you're an attorney, and Maya's a spirit medium, and they're like, Maya's like, whoa, how'd you do that? And Phoenix is like, it's really obvious. I'm wearing an attorney's badge, and like, you are very clearly a spirit medium. Like, there's an exhibit here for your family, and first time seeing that, I was like, okay, so clearly this guy's not as great of a detective as he's pretending to be. And then after I read the short stories, I was like, but that is literally what Sherlock Holmes does. That is exactly what he does. He looks at someone and says, oh, you're wearing an attorney's badge. You're an attorney. Like, there are a couple of times where, like, he'll observe something and they'll be like, how did you know? He's like, it's written right there. Or, like, because I can see this, like, how'd you know that the exact breed of dog? Because the dog is right there at the door. Like, and that is one thing about, like, I think BBC Holmes kind of, like, they go in that direction of, like, he's got, like, superpowers. He's got this mind palace. He doesn't. He's great at what he does, but, like, you know. I just saw the,
Yeah, Phoenix asked you what your opinions of Enola Holmes are.
I haven't read the Enola Holmes books. But I like the idea of her. I mean, why not? We don't really know that much about Holmes except that he has a brother named Mycroft. Yeah, there are books. I know that there's the Netflix series, but yeah, I think they're like, I want to say young adult or middle grade books.
Guess I'm gonna have to find me some Enola Holmes books.
Yeah, let me pull that up. Yeah, the Enola Holmes mysteries.
Ooh, you can get them as graphic novels too.
They're written by Nancy Springer.
Martian Cat said that she loves the Elementary's my jam. Natalie Dormer was awesome as Moriarty in the Elementary series. She was evil genius, and amazing.
Ooh. I gotta get caught up on Elementary. I remember when it was first coming out and there was, like, all the bad blood between the Elementary fan base and the Sherlock fan base. That was a time.
I think the BBC with Cumberbatch was probably my first Sherlock.
Mm-hmm. Don't even. It's like I couldn't even tell you when I first got exposed to Sherlock Holmes. Like it don't, like, because he's such a, I don't know how, like, a ubiquitous figure. It's like it almost feels like he was always there. Like whenever I think of detectives, that's who I think of. He's just got that presence.
Oh God, I'm being attacked by Harley. Hi.
You're being attacked.
Harley saw that my door was open.
Oh no.
And she is giving me all of the love that she was apparently holding.
My dog is pouting right now because I've been talking for over a half hour, and I've not been talking to her.
Mama,
I'm
tell
sorry,
me
Terry.
about Sherlock. I'll listen about Sherlock.
Tara, who's your favorite Sherlock? Do you
So
like Toby?
what how do you feel about the like what are your thoughts on in elementary his drug addiction was really big. Not so much
Mm-hmm.
in the BBC one. So like what do you like, and I've never read any of the books, so I don't know how like true to fact or true to the story his drug addiction is.
Yeah, so it's not really a thing in the books, but that could also be a product of the times. Like, he was just gonna have his hero do drugs because he didn't realize just how, like, addictive they could be. So I think it's a good interpretation. I think I would be annoyed if like every single adaptation went in that direction, kind of like with Irene. Like, but I think it's an interesting idea to explore, and I like that they did that. And I like um I like Dr. Watson being introduced as his sober companion because that makes sense. It's obviously not how it went down in the books, but it feels similar enough. Like, I mean, the books was it's the same as BBC. Like Watson was in the war. He's out of it now. He's looking for like a place to stay, but so this kind of almost flips the script where it's actually Holmes that needs the roommate and needs someone to like I don't want to say look after him because Watson didn't need anyone to look after him, um but yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we obviously the author didn't realize um but now that we're living in the 21st century, which speaking of which there is another adaptation called Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century, which is a cartoon where he got like cryogenically frozen, I think, and wakes up in the 22nd century and solves crimes with a robot Dr. Watson and Inspector Lestrange's descendant, and it is amazing. um So there have been many, many different versions of this guy. Tara, Peter, I love you too.
Uh,
um,
it also had an amazing opening song. The elementary one.
it did. Oh, Elementary? Yeah. Oh,
The,
the Elementary did too. I was gonna say Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century did too.
I didn't watch that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
One of my friends got me on that one, and it's fun. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon, and
Oh,
um,
previously Pluto says yeah, he was talking about Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. Had an amazing opening song.
yeah, it did.
I think I have to the one moment that always comes to mind when I think of Sherlock, because there are a lot of good ones, and I remember a lot about the BBC one the most. I think, but I think my favorite one is um, what's the landlady's name?
Oh, Mrs. Hudson.
Yes, Mrs. Somebody hurt Mrs. Hudson, and
Yes.
the
Oh,
the
yeah.
police show up, and he was like, "What happened? He fell out of the window. How many times did he fall out of the window? 11. Okay." And nothing happened because it feels like everybody on the force, and it was like nobody touches Mrs. Hudson. She's lovely.
No, nobody touches Miss Hudson.
Gives me
Well,
Carmen's
it's the way he
Sandiego
says it
animated
too.
vibes.
Exactly how many times did she fall out the window? Like I don't even care. Just tell me.
Like, we're not going to fault you. We just want to know what happened.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I think of
It
Sherlock Holmes,
is.
I think Watson is always ends up being my favorite character.
Yeah,
And
he's a really good, like, he's a good everyman. Like, he's, um, he's a good fill-in for the reader, but, like, he also has a life. He's married. He has his own interests. And, again, he's, like, at least in the books, it's, like, not his job to just stand there and be in complete awe of Sherlock.
yeah,
And
I
there's a couple, sorry,
no, go ahead.
there's a couple of short stories like that are written from Sherlock's perspective, and it'll start out with him being like, okay, I've been criticizing Watson a lot for how he tells these stories, and now I'm realizing like it's actually a lot harder than it is, and I find that hilarious. Because he just wants Watson to stick to the facts and explain how he figured something out, and he's like, why do you have to make like a whole narrative out of it? And
Right?
Watson's like, because
That's how humans work, Sherlock.
yes.
Humans. The people who give you money, that's how they work.
Hmm.
Now, I love Watson because is like one, um, and this comes from like, so in the Robert Downey Jr. one, it felt more like um, Sherlock was trying to take care of Watson because of, like, the whole gambling thing, but
Yeah.
in Elementary and the BBC show, it felt like they had this disgruntled child, both like,
Yes.
and they were just like the angriest parent. Like, I was stuck with you. Your father left. I'm here taking care of you. Shut up and do what you're told. But they
Yeah.
also, like, Sherlock also takes care of them in a weird way.
Yeah.
Also,
I love the part where in the pilot episode of Sherlock where they Watson shot the culprit and Sherlock starts going into a description of who he thinks the shooter is, like just based on observations. And as he's going through it, it's like hitting him, oh, oh, that was Watson. He was saving my life. And then he just kind of is like, yeah, forget about it. I have no idea who this person is.
I'm stumped. Move on to the next case.
Yeah.
It was a
Which he
good
will do
show.
that. Yeah. If he will do that, I mentioned that earlier. Like, if the person is sympathetic, he'll just be like, yeah, this isn't my problem. You know,
How
I don't
very
have to actually solve the case.
yeah.
I can just, leave this.
How very Murder on the Orient Express of him.
Yes.
So is Sherlock like your most favorite detective? Do you have other favorite detectives?
Well,
Like,
Nancy Drew's always going to be my favorite detective,
oh,
but Sherlock is a close second.
me and you love those Nancy Drew games. I haven't played one in a long time. Oh, but I love those Nancy Drew games. They're so good.
They have a new one coming out in May. Like, they just dropped the trailer a week ago.
I can't believe they're still making them. It's been like 20
Mhm.
years.
They used to come out with like two a year, and then Her Interactive, like, something happened there. Like, people, like, changing leadership, people getting fired. Like, it was a hot mess. And they finally released Midnight in Salem a couple of years ago, and then it was kind of silent for a while, and then they started hyping up like, oh, we're doing something again, but we're not quite telling you what it is. Like, there's a game coming, we swear, guys. And then they, like, last year they started hyping it up again. So I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping her interactive is like picking itself back up again, because again, they're great games, but we'll
That's
see.
how. That's where I learned about bangers and mash, which is now one of my favorite British dishes. It's from a Nancy Drew game.
Oh.
Adderall says Robert Downey was a good one. I like them both. Martian Cat
Hmm.
says read a lot of Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, I read the Hardy Boys too.
I have a Nancy Drew book around here somewhere that's older than I am. Oh, and oh my god, the Nancy Drew movie. Did you watch the Nancy Drew movie?
The one with Emma Roberts?
Mm-hmm.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Um, there a lot of things. It was a movie, and I liked it. But the one thing that
It was a movie.
it wasn't a bad
Was it
movie.
the movie of all time?
I just don't remember much of it. I do remember that at
Mm-hmm.
one point she was like walking past like a movie set, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like set in like a I don't know, the 1920s or something like that, and he starts reading the Miranda rights, and she walks up, like doesn't say anything, just walks onto the set because they're doing it in the middle of a intersection. And she
Mm.
goes, actually, the Miranda rights weren't invented until. And goes into this whole long thing. And Bruce Willis was the actor in the scene that she walked up to. And he was like, can we hire her to make sure everything's right? That's the most I remember about the movie. Phoenix says, I liked Harriet the Spy, the book and the movie.
I remember seeing the movie as a kid, and I didn't like it because I just like I remembered all the kids turning on her when they, found her book, like even her friends, and like that really got to me. Like cause I used to get bullied a lot as a kid, so like seeing this kid with like no friends like really upset me. I just
Very
like
triggering.
started crying. Yeah.
No, I get that. We're definitely have to plan a Sherlock in the 22nd century watch party in the Real Women of Gaming
Oh yeah.
Discord. Phoenix says, "Oh, I related to it hard." Yeah, I don't have any friends either. But I also didn't have like, a detective business. So,
I
and I
used
do
when I was a kid.
go ahead.
Well, when I was a kid, it was like Mary Kate and Ashley mysteries. I used to love those. And I was like, I'm gonna solve mysteries like them, and I was very disappointed when no mysteries came my way.
I didn't know that was a thing. I am a bit older
Yeah, that was a
than
thing.
both of you.
Yeah, it was like right after like it was right around like the Full House era. Like after they finished that,
Oh
they
God,
started a mystery agency.
Ghost Rider. That was my detective show growing up. It was Ghost Rider. I just remember that. Memory unlocked. And though I'm sure Henry Cavill cannot pull off Sherlock, I wouldn't know because I can watch that man do act in anything. I will watch Henry Cavill act in anything. He wasn't awful. He can do anything. I also keep wondering what kind of name is Mycroft.
Yeah,
It's such a weird name.
I was I was first introduced to him through the BBC series because I hadn't read those stories yet. And I was kind of like I was confused. I was like, wait, he has a brother? He has family? What? Um, but I like him.
If you have not seen the Enola Holmes show movie, I haven't watched the second one
Hmm.
yet. The first one is very good. I enjoyed it. I enjoy Billy Bobby Brown. No, is that no Ellie? No, God, what?
That's
I
me.
don't know. Millie,
Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown. I enjoyed her very much as Enola Holmes, but I also love that their mother was crazy. Like that's very much portrayed because I don't again never read the books, but I don't know like how they're like that. I don't know
You
that he
never
ever talked about his parents or anything like that.
No. His parents really don't come up. But yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. So yeah, Helena Bonham Carter plays their mother in
Of course.
the movie, and she's like batshit crazy, but extremely intelligent, and I absolutely love it. I love it. It was great. I'm sad that she's not a great
Check that
person,
out.
but her work is amazing.
Yeah, I might have to check that out then.
Yeah. I can't, as I said, I can't speak for the second one. Only the 1st one. Do we have any last minute questions for Iris before we call the panel? I can't pet you all day, Harley. I know you're very excited.
All right, Tara gave up.
The second one isn't bad either. Good. I do have
Good.
okay. I will make a very sad announcement. It does not look like we can do horror movies this year.
Oh no.
Henry, who's been having a lot of problems trying to stream movies, and it's just not working. And we think this is a Discord problem, so I will investigate it. I'm streaming panels until 6, so I can investigate it a bit later.
Okay. And who's up next for panels?
That would be Nippy. Phoenix. Sorry, Phoenix is next.
Mm.
Right? This is where I panic. I'm pretty sure it's Phoenix. Yes. Yes, content creators with Phoenix and Ron are next. And then it's Prep is Death, Keystone DM skills. So yeah, Discord. The Eclipse has killed Discord. It's fine.
I'm just looking at the schedule now, and I love the description for Prep is Death.
Oh yes,
it is the mind killer.
Yes,
it is the little death.
He's great. Grandma's great. He is an amazing DM and an indie TTRPG creator. So. All right. Well, thank you all so much. Iris, thank you so much for talking about Sherlock. We're going to take a break and set up for the next panel. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Freshly activated, I see.
How wonderful. Think of the possibilities.
Android, what is your primary function?
Still limited to your basic programming.